Well, it all started when I was a child. I was allergic to milk, potatoes, everything, all fruits, vegetables. I had very limited food selection that I could eat. I had so many allergies. Then one of my doctors started to suspect that I might have celiac because I wasn't growing. I was so skinny and had stomach problem. It took time to adjust because, of course, 20 years ago celiac wasn't that well known. 90% of the times we were eating gluten free, the whole family. I had a student flat.
Yeah.
Of course, I had to send a doctor's, I don't know what
report.
To the housing company that explained that I cannot share a kitchen.
And about friends, because this is a bit more tricky. Sometimes they are not
it is.
so open, or they don't think of it sometimes. How do you feel about it? So, well, hello and welcome again to the FUT Talks, and today I am with Aino Suvanen in Nuuksio National Park in Finland, that it's very close to Helsinki. And I'm, first of all, very happy because it's been like 7 years since I met Aino in one of the gluten-free celiac people meetings that we made in Spain with FUT. And also because I'm back to Finland, that it's a country where I lived 13 years ago, and because I have the chance now to interview Aino and ask for her experience and know more about how is the gluten-free life in Finland. And it couldn't be easier or better than being here in a national park, making a fire, eating kirjalan pirka, that is a typical Finnish pastry, and also grilling some sausages and having some salad surrounded by nature and an amazing lake. And also I'm excited because this is the first interview that I do without video, that it will be only the voice. So it's also kind of aligned with the podcast, let's say, way of interviewing. And also I think it will be much easier for both of us because here the light is not so good. And I know we'll also feel more comfortable about sharing everything. So I know, first of all, thank you for your time and for being here. And please introduce a bit yourself and how all the adventure with a gluten-free diet started for you.
Yeah, thank you, Santi. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for visiting me here in Nuuksio.
Yeah.
It's so nice to see you. Okay, so last time when we met, where we actually met first time, it was in CYE summer camp in Alicante.
Yeah.
So that was like summer camp, which was held for celiac youth all over the Europe, and we had like participants from I don't know how many countries.
Yeah.
I would say so many countries all around Europe, even USA and Australia.
Exactly. Yeah. That was nice.
Yes, it was a great experience. So that's where we have met.
Yeah. And
now, right after 7 years, sitting here, talking about gluten-free life in Finland.
Yeah, and surrounded by nature and in this with the fire here, and so on. And yeah, as we were saying before we had this problem with the recording, how long have you been eating gluten-free? I mean, now you are in your mid-20s, and how did all started?
Yeah, well, it all started when I was a child. I was a very allergic kid. I had very limited food selection that I could eat. I had so many allergies, and of course I had to go to the doctors to check everything with my diet and so on. And then one of my doctors started to suspect that I might have celiac because I wasn't growing. I was so skinny and had stomach problems. So like very like basic symptoms that you connect with the celiac disease. And as I was still a child, I got some tests and then got diagnosis pretty quickly. And then after that, I've lived gluten free for 20 years. So
okay, so that's very interesting because I mean, while we were eating, you have already explained me some of the things that we will treat again during this interview. But how was it for you? Do you have siblings?
Yes, I have a younger brother, and he doesn't have any problems. Of course, he had allergies also when he was a kid, but now nothing.
Now he's okay.
Yeah. Also, my parents don't have celiac. Only one I know was my great grandfather, who passed when I was so little, and he got diagnosis when he was
of celiac disease.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but he was already old, so he had lived with it his own whole life without knowing.
And how did you manage at home to because being you the only one having celiac disease and also being a kid, I mean, did you eat gluten free and the rest of the family was eating with gluten, or you switched to gluten free all the family, or how do you remember?
Yeah, 90% of the times we were eating gluten free, the whole family, and maybe some things were like done with normal ingredients, and for me with special flours, but still nowadays when I visit my parents and they make pizza, they make only gluten-free pizza and not like separate ones for them and one for me. With my family, of course, it had to it took time to adjust, because of course 20 years ago celiac wasn't that well known.
Yeah, and
Finland.
common, because now you go to a supermarket and you have a full selection of products and even a section in the supermarket. But then it was...
Yeah, when I was a kid I had like 3 options of bread and a couple options of flours and so on. Yeah. So life is a lot easier nowadays. Yeah, when the awareness and the diagnostics and everything with the disease has become more popular and, well, not popular, but you know.
Yeah, and easier. And,
exactly.
And maybe they look for it more than before. No?
Yes, because the symptoms can be anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I was diagnosed the same year than you, most probably. I was 13, a bit older. But it was very difficult because they associated my symptoms to other illnesses. And
exactly.
At school, how did you manage there? Did you eat there? Were you eating at home? You brought your own food?
No, in Finland we have free school meals.
Okay.
Until high school, it's a good advantage that we have here.
Yeah.
And pay taxes for that.
Exactly.
So my parents had to, of course, inform my diet to the kitchen. And when I was still little, like 7 or 8 years old, my parents had to send a list of ingredients that I can eat and not about my allergies, because they were only like so limited list of things that I could eat, and everything else could be threat for me.
Because you still had the other allergies apart from celiac disease?
Yeah.
And which were these allergies?
Well, when I was a baby, I was allergic to milk, potatoes, everything, all fruits, vegetables, only things when I was a little baby. Only things that I could eat was like rice, broccoli, and game meat. So I had expensive taste.
I see.
Yeah, and little by little it got better. But for example, when I was like from 7 to 10 years old, I couldn't eat tomatoes or oranges or something like that. But as I said, little by little, my allergies went away. But of course, celiac will stay with me forever.
Yeah, but that's part of the adventure, and it's good that you know. And also, I think that you are managing quite well now.
Yeah.
So we went through your family experience as a kid, and now you already explained that if you go there, they cook gluten-free for all of you.
Yes.
The school. Let's go now to today, let's say.
Yes.
And how do you manage? Because, I mean, you studied also out of your hometown. So you lived in your own flat, or
Yes.
how is
yes,
it in university?
Yeah, I had my own flat because I had a student flat.
Yeah.
Of course, I had to send like a doctor's, I don't know what
Report?
to the housing company that explained that I cannot share a kitchen.
Yeah.
And also it's very common in Finland to rent from private markets, but I got the student apartment for myself. So I cooked a lot myself, and when I went to school cafeterias and to have lunch, they have always everything explained, all the ingredients listed, and also the little markings like G or L, like gluten free, lactose free.
Yeah.
So it was quite easy to find food from the university. I think we had like 3 different restaurants, student restaurants in Lappeenranta, so there was always something that I could eat in some of the...
And safe, because
Yes.
I mean, what sometimes happens is that they list the ingredients, and now I'm not talking about Finland, I'm talking in general, that they
Yes.
list the ingredients, but what happens in the kitchen is something different.
Yes.
And then the cross-contamination affects you, no?
Yes, of course, yeah. But I have always trusted these like professional kitchens that are like located to with schools or everything, because they have to be like professional. So I trust them. But of course, when you have like a buffet line, that gives a little bit risks. For,
of course. But it's, again, it's
so
part
you
of...
have to be careful, of course.
Yeah. And now you are back to, let's say, Helsinki area.
Yeah.
You live like 30 kilometers away, and you share your flat with your boyfriend,
Yes,
with your
exactly.
partner.
Yeah.
And how was it for him to adapt to this? Because do you think that your celiac condition is kind of conditioning your social life, for example, going out or with friends and so on, or with him?
Well, talking of the boyfriend, he has always been very supportive and understanding, and always checking with me that what can I eat and where I'm comfortable to eat. And he's a great cook. He makes makes great food. So I've had possibility to enjoy that. So of course he has his own pastas and breads, but they're located separated in our kitchen, but everything else is gluten-free by default.
Okay, so it's been easy for him and for you to get along.
Yeah.
We have known
we have known for a long time. So now when we live together, it's quite easy, because he already knows how strict you have to be with a condition like this. So
And about friends, because this is a bit more tricky. Sometimes they are not
it is.
so open, or they don't think of it sometimes. How do you feel about it?
With my friends, some of my friends might think that I'm a little bit of an overthinker when it comes to my diets, that I always like to double check everything and double check. And when they make food, I like to check that, hey, did you use the my flowers and and everything? Did you prepare it, separate it from everything else? And of course they're like, yes, because I have told them that this is like serious thing, and you shouldn't like mix normal food with gluten free. But sometimes they're like, is it that serious? You don't have to double check everything, and sometimes leads to situations where I feel that I'm a little bit difficult, or maybe even rude. I know that they, like my friends, don't think that I'm rude, but if I'm with like someone that I don't know that much, and they have prepared something, some food that they say that it's made of gluten-free ingredients, then I have to double check that, hey, did you make sure that this and this and this? So even though I know that it's important to check, but I hope that they don't think that I'm being like rude or like...
But that you don't trust them.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Do they feel offended?
Yeah, no, I don't think they feel offended, but that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
So that kind of things. And of course, when I go out with my friends and we have to pick a restaurant, I have to be the one who approves that place where we are going.
Yeah. So you are always proposing places to go that are safe for you.
And sometimes you have to be like a detective to find out which places are actually safe, because even though some restaurants list their menu as gluten-free, they might not be. As we were previously discussing about pizzas.
And cross-contamination.
Yes, cross-contamination, everything. So it's sometimes a bit tricky to find which places are actually safe.
So in line with the pizza comments that we were doing before, okay, I mean, in some restaurants they say that they have gluten-free options, but they add a highlight saying that they cannot guarantee that there is no cross-contamination. So then it's not exactly gluten-free.
Made from gluten-free ingredients, but it's not gluten-free for celiacs.
And so do you think this is a trustable restaurant, or you try to avoid this kind of restaurants? How do you...
Well, it depends. It depends so much, because some restaurants are so aware that they have to put that disclaimer there so that they can guarantee everything is 100% gluten-free, even though they would do things well. But they're just scared that something happens and someone gets symptoms or anything. And
so just in case claim.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And some restaurants put that text there just because they don't care to serve like people with food intolerances. Yeah. So it really depends.
So you really have to filter and to, as you said, to be a detective.
Yeah,
to find out,
exactly.
If they do it well or not.
Exactly, and send emails in advance and check how they prepare their food. And pizza is a good example because well, some restaurants use same base for normal pizzas and gluten-free pizzas, and like I mean the pan. Yeah.
So the tool.
Exactly. Yeah. And some just have like a separate oven, but they prepare the pizzas in the same kitchen. So that's already so much more better option and safer option. Okay. So
Okay. And do you think? I mean, when you have a meeting with friends, and I don't know how meetings are here in Finland, but. Do you meet a lot at home at the places or where people live, or you go out for eating? How do you do it?
Because it depends. More and more out. When I'm older, we have money to go out for dinner. So it's nice to see friends somewhere
restaurants.
In restaurants or pubs or something. But also we meet each other's a lot. Also at our homes and prepare something like, let's have a cup of tea or something.
And when you meet like this, and I mean, some people bring their own food. Like I will bring the pastries, I will bring the starter, I will bring the main course. Do they think about gluten-free, or you have to bring your own food and eat apart, or maybe at the beginning like this and now?
Yeah, it depends of the people and what we do. Sometimes it's easier for me to just go. For example, if we eat something like afternoon coffee and have something sweet with it, it's so much easier for me to go to the store and pick a nice piece of cake or muffin or something, so nobody else has to think what would work for me.
And it's something you like already.
Yeah, exactly. So it's easy. But if we prepare dinner together or make food, of course they are taking my diet seriously and into account, and we think about the courses and dishes based on that what we can eat, everything. Because also I have vegetarian friends and lactose-free friends, and sometimes it just needs a little bit more.
So it's like a party of allergic people.
Yeah, sometimes feels like it.
That's nice. But I mean, also it's good to have friends with other intolerances, so the empathy is there.
Yes.
They understand you understand them, and it's a bit easier.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. And before we were talking about traveling, and despite you said that you want to travel more and so on, I'm sure that you have done some trips within Finland or also in the
Europe.
Balkan.
Yeah.
And how do you prepare your trips? in advance, or are you open to improvise? Or
Well, I think it's also a personality trait that I want to prepare everything and know what we're going to do and where we're going to stay. But
Yeah.
of course, not always that's possible.
Yeah.
And you have to improvise and go with the flow.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, usually I check the potential restaurants that I could go from like websites and read the reviews and
Yeah.
everything, so that I have some options that I can suggest and know where they're located before I go, for example, to around some cities and so on. So I always have some options.
So you plan to be at the area where the restaurant is when it's lunchtime or dinner time, or?
Yeah, sometimes, not necessarily, but
Okay.
but if I have some place that I want to really try,
Okay.
some
Yeah.
gluten-free restaurants. So yeah.
And what about Baltics? Because before starting the interview, you told me that you went with your boyfriend on a road trip through the Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. How was it there to eat gluten-free and to communicate? Because I mean, I don't know if the English
Yeah.
is so common there as it is here.
Yeah.
In Spain, for example, it's not really common to find people speaking
Yeah.
proper English sometimes.
Yeah, in bigger cities they speak
Yeah.
English, and
Okay.
and that was not a problem. I think in Estonia also the awareness of the gluten-free diet and celiac has grown.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I got the feeling that also because in Finland we have a very good selection of products, as we maybe discussed before, whole walls
Yes.
filled with gluten-free products. So of course the selection is more limited, but there is still something, and of course there are some like Facebook pages for each country.
Okay.
For example, to Estonia, they have like their own gluten-free Facebook group that
Okay.
I attended before my trip, so
Yeah,
I know
you did?
the locals' tips and tricks.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
And you asked in English, or?
I haven't asked anything, but I was just reading
and
the
translating.
reviews. Yeah. But I think I have seen that some Finnish people have asked also in Finnish, because Estonian and
it's
Finnish
quite
languages are quite close. Not that much, but of course the translating apps are so good.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you can use your languages
Yeah.
also in the groups that are made for people in other countries.
So you didn't find it difficult to travel gluten-free there?
Well, of course, this comes again to a question how spontaneous you want to be. I
Okay.
didn't face difficulties because I knew the places I want to visit that are safe and maybe had contacted them before. So it really helps to do some research in advance.
Okay. And do you still have this information? Because I will go on Saturday, and this can be very helpful
Of
for
course,
me. Yeah.
of course,
If
we
so,
will
if you-
share the
if you
best
could share
tips,
this. Yeah.
and tricks and
Yeah,
places.
if you
of
could
course.
send me through WhatsApp, that would be
Of course.
wonderful.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think that's a huge help to have like community,
Yeah.
especially like social media, when you have people all over the world and they can connect with like around this topic and share their suggestions and also places to avoid sometimes. So
Yeah, that's important too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, for example, I sometimes use that Find Me Gluten Free app, and you have your own app, no, map. I mean, not app, but map.
Yes. Yeah. I do.
That,
Yeah.
and where you have listed your
Yeah.
suggestions. So I think those are really helpful places, and I would encourage everyone who are like having any kind of dietary restrictions to make reviews and talk about good places on social media, so that we can share information and spread awareness. And
I think it's important. Yeah.
Yes,
That's very important.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And helps a lot, especially when traveling.
Exactly. And being a foreigner in a country that you don't know, and maybe there is a language barrier and so on, this is very helpful because you have that in written. You can translate, you can understand, and you can do it in advance, no?
Yeah.
And yeah, please.
Yeah, and actually, I would have a question for you.
Oh.
Because I think that
So now you are interviewing me.
yeah.
Okay.
Because as I said that maybe sometimes I feel anxious to travel and maybe sometimes I let my diet to restrict me to visit some places or do something. So you are an expert of this. So what kind of tips or like advices would you have for a person like me who is sometimes a little bit more nervous where they can eat and what to trust?
I mean,
difficult one.
That's the first interview where I'm asked something, and that's a difficult question because, as you said, it goes with the personality. So, at the beginning of my trips, I used to plan a lot, and I also used to try to find where to eat and find recommendations and so on. But now that I'm traveling the world and I'm trying to increase the awareness and also find people like you that is open to share, are open to share their experience living in their country or traveling around, I stopped planning. And also I stopped planning when traveling for work. I used to travel a lot, and I also went to some countries where the word gluten is totally unknown.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because in Europe it's still quite simple because I've never been to Asia or Africa or some countries like that. So in Europe it's still quite easy.
In Europe it's easy, but still you have to filter a bit, and sometimes the only filter that you can have is talking face to face with the person that will cater you. No? But as a recommendation, I would say that if you can plan in advance, do it, and look for information on blogs and so on, do it. But sometimes you cannot do that because you improvise, or maybe when I was traveling for work, I didn't know where I would eat.
Yeah.
Because maybe I was going with customers, or maybe I expected to be in a place at lunchtime, but I was somewhere else. So I had to look for options, no? So then, in this case, I would recommend to have what for me is the best app, that is the Celiac travel card, because if it's well described, it can help you to overcome this language barrier.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And give it to the waiter, but sometimes ask for the cook to come out and talk directly with him. Because I don't know if you have it here, but in Spain we have a game for kids that it's called the phone game. That somebody tells you something in your ear and you pass it.
Yeah, the broken phone.
Exactly.
I think.
So at the end of the row, the message is totally different, right?
Exactly.
So to avoid this problem, I would recommend to ask to talk directly with the cook, and also to not be afraid of leaving that restaurant. So my record is 8 restaurants in one night that I didn't eat there, and I was sitting already, but I stood up and left.
Yes.
Because at the end, who will feel bad is me or you.
Exactly.
Not the waiter or the cook. No. So in the end, I think that losing this embarrassment of leaving the restaurant, it's also a good way of approaching this, and also will make them aware about this. No. So aligned with what I was saying, I would say that my tips is, if you cannot prepare in advance, have some tools with you, like the Celiac travel card, that can allow you to improvise or find safe food out in a restaurant. Because also there are some countries that are very easy for gluten-free, like Spain, Italy, Finland, but some others that are not, because there it's not so common. So this Celiac travel card will help you also break this barrier and communicate with the waiter or directly with the cook, which is also very important if you are able to talk with them. And not being afraid of standing up and leaving and finding another restaurant. Because at the end, as I said, it's you who will feel bad, not them. And a meal that is not gluten-free can ruin your trip, no? And also your experience there. So my record, as I said, it was in South Africa and also in Bosnia. I stood up from 8 restaurants until I found one that could cater me and that I felt comfortable with their answers.
Exactly.
I mean, in the end, being celiac, you have this condition that maybe gastronomy will not be the reason of going there. It will be more other parts of the culture, like the architecture, the traditions, or the landscapes, for example, geography. No, but food stays, let's say, in a second term.
Yes.
And accepting this is also a thing. But yeah, I mean, I've traveled now to 36 or 37 countries. And I have to say that the most difficult one is in Europe, and it has been France.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
yeah, that's what I've heard. I've never visited France, so.
Yeah. So, and also in some of the Balkan countries like Serbia, Bosnia, or Croatia, it's a bit difficult, especially in remote areas. But thanks to the Celiac travel car, I could eat and also find local people through Instagram or through what you said before, no, Facebook or the association to try help you and guide you, because sometimes you don't find the fresher information and you find historic information that maybe can also mislead you to places that are no longer safe or that they no longer exist. But yeah, so coming back to you, because you are the interviewed person.
That was a good answer to my question.
And I'm telling this to you and to anyone hearing this. If you ever travel somewhere and you think that I can help you, just write me, ask me through Instagram, and I will be more than happy to help you with my experience. And if I don't have it, I will tell you.
Yes, perfect. I think that's one part why having gluten-free friends is so important.
Exactly.
As we started, we talked about summer camp for celiac youth.
Exactly.
And it's been 7 years since we attended to the camp.
Yeah.
But one of the greatest things that camp brought me was one Finnish friend who I'm still in touch today.
Yeah.
So even though we were talking about like social situations and settings that you might feel like you're difficult or rude to double check and ask, it's so nice to have that one person that you can tell your experiences, how you have felt when you have had like some kind of bad or good experience related to gluten-free things.
Yeah.
So it's so nice to have someone. As we talked, I don't have anyone in my family who has the same condition. So when I have a friend that I can send a message and complain, or then suggest something new product or new place to go, and it's so valuable. And I think it's if you don't have anyone who like understands your difficulties, what it's like to live with diet, some kind of allergies or intolerances, I would encourage that. Reach out to people on social media or on like local associations, so you can have you can have someone to discuss with about these things, because it really helps, as we are now discussing about traveling and our like different perspectives on things. It really helps to like
to share, no?
And
to learn.
Yes,
that's good. Is
both
she
ways.
Vera?
Yeah.
So Finland, gluten-free. I mean, now I've been... Actually, Finland was the last country of Scandinavia that I had to go through before going to Europe again. And I have to say that despite I already knew how was living gluten-free here, I didn't really remember because it's almost 15 years ago. No?
Yes, things have changed.
Exactly. But still, I mean, Denmark, very difficult for me. Norway, a bit easier, but still quite difficult, especially going shopping.
Yeah.
Because here, the products are again labeled gluteniton, lactositon.
Yes.
And in Norway, you don't find this. Only in some Coop supermarkets you find gluten free in some of their products,
Yes.
but it's not common. But here in the cold cuts like ham or cheeses and so on, it's well labeled.
Yes.
And this is very easy for a celiac person or an allergic person, regardless if it's Finnish or foreigner, by knowing these keywords, gluteniton,
Yes.
bajan lactositon or lactositon,
Yes.
bajan lactose, no? Or lactositon. This makes it very, very easy.
Yes.
So now just to start closing with the interview, what would be your advice? I mean, for example, now I have to go shopping. Now, tomorrow I will have to go shopping. Which is the best supermarket or the supermarket with most offering?
Well, I think the easiest one is K-chain,
Yes.
like City Market, Supermarket, or K-Market.
Okay.
Because they have their own displays for gluten-free products.
Okay.
So it's more easy to find on these stores. And also I think as we discussed that the selection has grown so much for the past years, I think it has something to do, of course, with it that Finland has over 2% of its population diagnosed with celiac, and in addition,
which is a lot.
yes, it is. I think it's around 2%, and when you add allergies and other gut problems and everything, it's not just like it's a huge segment, customer segment here in Finland. So of course, companies want to of course benefit also from that. It's not just goodwill to create 20 different breads for celiacs, but I think that there's also a huge potential.
Yeah, this is also something that surprised me a lot, because in Norway and Denmark you had let's say the European brands and maybe some Swedish brand, but very small selection. And here in Finland it's like you have like 10, 13, 15 different breads, or what you said, 20 different breads.
Yeah, nowadays it's
amazing.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, and I mean, I finish every interview asking to the interviewed person for an advice, okay? And in this case would be, I would like to ask you for one advice for tourists, so foreigners coming to Finland. What would be your advice you cannot leave Finland without having tried this, for example? Like Kirjalanpirkka or a specific place. Yeah. And another advice is, what would you say to somebody of your age that is diagnosed with celiac disease to adjust to this new diet condition and to share with friends and partner, for example? Yeah. So 2 advices.
Yeah, I will I will answer your second question first.
Okay.
As I said, it's so valuable to have friends or family who understand what you're going through. So if you don't have anyone who has the same condition or has same struggles, reach out to someone, for example on social media. We have also in Finland some influencers that are focused on gluten-free baking, on gluten-free restaurant suggestions. So I would reach for the community to ask questions, and also if you feel like we were discussing, sometimes it can be like embarrassing or like you might feel that you're rude or something. Just talk with your friends and your family how you feel about this new situation, because the more you talk, the more they will understand you, and hopefully they will
take it into account.
Yeah.
consider.
Consider. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
for the first question, I would say also social media is a huge help. Huge help nowadays. We have a couple totally gluten-free restaurants cafes in Helsinki area. So they're definitely worth trying, and also many restaurants label their menus as like put the G's on the menu, so it's easy to find places to eat. Of course, be cautious and ask questions and double check if you're in doubt. But in general, I would say Finland is a quite easy place to live gluten-free life, as you said.
Yeah. So, Aino, thank you so much
Thank you, Santi.
for your time, for sharing, for this Nuksio Finnish grilling experience with this surrounding that it's so beautiful. And as you heard, check social network, be open and talk about this problem, because at the end it will make it easier for you and for the people surrounding you to understand and consider the limitations or the restrictions that it can bring with. And also, if you come to Helsinki, try find these two gluten-free places, because for sure you will be able to taste the pastries that are typical from the area. And don't be embarrassed, because at the end it will be you who will be feeling bad, so you have to fight for your health.
Yeah.
See you in the next video. Thank you so much.
Bye.